Yo, so check this out. I actually went ahead and I did you a favor, believe it or not. I went ahead and I found the perfect sensitivity for you. All right. No need to look at these seasonal controller or mouse and keyboard setting videos anymore. I got you. And this will lock you in for life. And guess what? I ain't putting no fluff in this video. We getting right to it. So let's get right to it. Now, I know you are waiting for me to go to my settings and to show you everything, right? Go over to my controller settings and go over to my mouse and keyboard settings. Nah, I ain't doing all that, right? I'm gonna help you actually find your own sensitivity, all right? Copy and pasting, it just doesn't do it. It's not realistic, right? Probably the best thing to do if you are to copy and paste is, of course, template somebody's sensitivity and then adjust it accordingly from there. So if you want to do that as a base, feel free to do that as a base. I'll let you guys know how I rock out on controller. I rock out with ALC, and this is what my ALC settings look like. And then on mouse and keyboard, which I have been playing for the majority, this is what my mouse sense looks like. I don't really do nothing with my ADS sense for real. I rock 1.6 with a 1200 DPI, rocking the glorious Model O mouse. But yeah, if you want to use it as a template, cool. If you want to use somebody else, that's totally fine, all right? Oh yeah, my mouse and keyboard people, I forgot, you all like to see keybinds as well. So these are what my keybinds look like if you ever want to reference them. Nothing crazy, right? Nothing like groundbreaking. This might be the most different-esque type thing that I do as I equip weapons with ENR, holster with 4. Like, that's just comfortable for me. Again, if you want to mimic, you can, but know that you do not need to. Yep, there we go. Now that we got all the keybinds and sensitivities out the way, well, at least the sensitivities that you'll start with, let's get into the meat and the potatoes of things. Now, there are 3 rule of thumbs that we will follow on the day, and I will talk about number 1, all right? The first one will be 90-degree turns, okay? Now, when it comes to 90-degree turns, whether if you're on keyboard and mouse, or controller, this applies to you, all right? Now, on mouse and key, it'll be a little bit different because it's gonna be much more of a flick, right? When you're on controller, it's much more of a drag because the rotation is consistent unless you have, what's it called? Yaw pitch, I think it's called. Is that the exact term? Don't quote me on that. But you know what I'm saying, when you turn and then it starts to pick up and accelerate. Let's just call it turn acceleration for the sake of this video, all right? So, 90-degree turn, okay. 2 rules of thumb in regards to it, right? If you overcompensate when you flick on mouse and keyboard, then that tells me that your sensitivity is too fast. On the flip side, if you underflick, right? If I'm trying to get this mannequin right here and I underflick, then that tells me my sensitivity may be a bit too low. All right, now another rule of thumb here is you have to do this on numerous occasions. Don't just fire up your PC or your console, hop in and flick or drag and under flick or under drag and be like, oh man, my sense is too low, let me up it. Or vice versa, right? You over flick or over drag, oh my gosh, my sense is too high, I can't do, no. You have to do this on numerous occasions because you have to neurologically wake up, right? You have to warm up, for lack of better terms as well. Warm up your hands if you're on mouse and key, warm up your thumbs if you're on controller, and get ready to get busy, right? So I will let you guys know, disclaimer, it's early in the morning right now. I am not warmed up in the slightest bit, but I'm going to try to give you guys an example of what things should look like, okay? So if you want to slide jump into this, if you just want to just run and then flick, feel free to do so. But the whole idea is to run straight, turn, and be able to one clip that dummy, right? Now you see I overflicked, I overcompensated a little bit there, right? Totally fine. Kind of spot on there. And again, I'm doing this kind of slow right now because again, I'm literally like, I'm like zombified right now. I just hit my coffee ain't kicking yet, but that's what it should look like, right? We just turn, flick, jump, and we should be right on target. We should be right on target, right? And I know I'm kind of undercutting this 90-degree turn a little bit, but I think it still gets the job done, right? And again, if I'm in this position right here and I'm over flicking, so for example, if I'm like that and I have to overcorrect myself and I do this on numerous occasions, right? I over flick, oh man, shoot, I'm over flicking, right? Then maybe I want to dabble with lowering that sensitivity just a little bit, right? And again, I'm just giving you an example right now. I don't look like this, but if I'm over flicking, then obviously we want to dial things down. And on the flip side, if I'm under flicking, right, if I'm like this and I have to overcorrect, then you might want to dial things up just a little bit. And make sure you incrementally increase that sensitivity, right? If you're running ALCs on controller, is it ALC or AL? Yes, ALC on controller, then slowly increase that turn speed, right? If you're on mouse and keys, slowly increase that sensitivity, right? One by one, little by little. You don't want to make any over dramatized jumps, because by doing so, all you're going to do is mess up muscle memory, all right? Also, once you get comfortable with this, start to speed up a little bit to emulate in game. You know, you don't want to go through this and walk through the motions every single time, because that's not realistic to what Apex Legends is, right? I want to be able to just readjust and make sure I'm doing these 90-degree turns on the fly, because again, I want to emulate in game as much as possible. Once you get really comfortable with doing this, I would suggest turning on the bots in the training range and practice those 90-degree turns on the bots while they are alive. Moving on to the second test here, we are going to build off the 90-degree turns and place an emphasis on 180-degree turns, okay? Now know that the same rules apply for the 90-degree test, okay? For 180 tests, we want to literally be pulling away from the bot here. If you want to go as far as you want to, turn around and shoot, okay? Now, it's not going to be perfect. You see I kind of slid off to the corner here. That's totally fine. The whole idea is to attempt to do a 180-degree flick on mouse and keyboard or drag on controller, okay? We want to just make sure that we are in line with the bot. Oop, turn and shoot. Again, start off slow and then gradually pick up speed once you get comfortable with doing that. As I mentioned before, make sure that if we overflick, and the bot's right there, and we end up over here, and we do that on numerous occasions, right? Because again, we have to make sure that we're warmed up and ready to go. If you do that on numerous occasions, if you overflick, or if you find yourself under flicking or under dragging, I keep getting stuck over here, then gradually increase that sensitivity so that you can be on target. Or if you're over flicking, gradually decrease that sensitivity so that you are on target, okay? Try this out with several different weapons. You can try this out with SMGs, with ARs. If you want to try it out with snipers, if you're like a saucy player, feel free to do so. Do whatever you feel like you need to do in order to time up those 180 flicks. And as mentioned before, once you get used to doing this with stationary bots, feel free to turn on those bots and practice on them live. Run away from them, and when you get shot in the back, the moment you get shot in the back, boom, do that 180 flick, lock onto their head, and clap those homies. All right, folks, in the last test I want you all to endure to make sure you find your perfect sensitivity is spray transferring, okay? The reason I prefer spray transferring over flick shotting is because spray transferring is a lot more applicable to what actually happens in game, and a skill that you actually will utilize more in game versus flick shooting. Like, think about it. When are you ever in a situation where you're going to be shooting somebody like this that's right here? No, you're going to look at them and you're going to try to take down that target. If their teammate comes around the corner right here, you might take some shots here and then transfer to this enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's much more realistic than me flicking. So for this, we want to activate the bots. That's the best thing for us to do, is to activate the bots and try to get them to line up in some type of formation, okay? So in order to do that, I just kind of jump around a little bit, right? I just kind of just run around and kind of play freeze tag with these goofballs a little bit, right? Once they line up a little bit, now I know it's game time. I don't know why I have my R3 in my first slot. So once it's game time, I kind of get a little bit closer to them, and then I try to spray transfer. I try to line it up so I can do it, all right? So I think they're lined up. Let me see if your boy Cray can do it at 7 in the morning or whatever time it is. Oh, he's in my face. Hold on. Let me drop back a little bit. All right, we good. Let's do that. So, okay, those guys are lined up perfect. Let me get a little shield transfer. All right. So these guys are lined up perfect. They were lined up a little too perfect. Dead slid. So that wasn't like a quality transfer, but I'm sure you all seen how I knocked this guy and flicked just about on perfect target right to the purple armored guy. That's what you want to make sure your sensitivity looks like on mouse and keyboard, or if you're on controller, it should be a perfect drag onto the second opposition, all right? So I'm gonna try this a few more times. I didn't even see that guy, but I flicked right in his proximity, which is perfect. That lets me know that my sense is great for me. I didn't flick on that last guy and missed a ton of shots. God, I am doo-doo partner. And then what's this guy doing? I don't know what that guy's doing, all right? So things to look out for, as always, as I mentioned in this entire video, undershooting or overshooting, right? So if I overshoot, if I overflick, right, I knock this guy right here. Wait, where'd they go? Oh, that was the last guy. All right. So let's say I'm shooting at this guy right here, and I go to flick and hit this guy, and I flick over here. I know that's over dramatizing, but you guys get the point. Lower that sensitivity a little bit, okay? Now, on the other hand, if I'm shooting this guy right here, and I go to flick to the blue guy, and I flick that short, then that tells me that I need to go ahead and I need to slightly increase my sensitivity and continue to do so over and over again until I find the perfect sense. Again, it's going to take more than one go round to figure it out. You're going to have to slay these bots 5 or 6 times in a row in order to really get a good feel of, okay, this sense is too fast. I'm over flicking everything, or man, I am under flicking everything, or I'm under dragging, over dragging. You guys get the point, okay? So in a perfect world, we just want to make sure, boy, come here, boy. We just want to make sure that we're able to spray transfer without much of an issue. Ooh, what's up, bro? Ooh, go to sleep, bro. Okay, so it should look like that. Of course, it'll be more fluid for the better players. I'm not the best player in the world by any means, so take my aim and take what I'm doing with a grain of salt, okay? And again, as I mentioned before, it's early in the morning, so your boy ain't woke. But I had to get this out because, man, I am tired of seeing the best controller settings, the best mouse and key settings every single season. Like, nothing changes. Nothing changes. So I hope this was helpful. If this was helpful, do me the biggest favor, drop a like on the video, sub to the channel for much more Apex content to come in the near future. And I will catch you all in the next video. All right? On that note, we out. Peace.